We've got some questions coming through from our loyal Kick and Chase viewers. The first is from Nick Kennedy, and Nick wants to know, Cheika, have you ever told Will Genia to quit the box kick obsession? And if you haven't, why not?
It's a tough one because I don't like to give away the dressing room chat, you know what I mean? Definitely, when I was at the Tars, we just banned it completely, right? Because we figured that there's got to be a better way to get ourselves out of there. But sometimes as the level goes up, the defence goes up, there's got to be place for quality kicking and also quality chasing. So, mate, I'm with him 100% on all of those. Not all those kicks were good ones, you know what I mean? They've got to be ones where it's a team game kicking. You know, if you're going to kick, you've got to chase, right? So a good chase can turn an average kick into a great kick. Yeah. And that's probably one thing where we haven't excelled in that area and why our kicking looks so shabby. Because I'm not a kicking aficionado, we probably don't focus. We probably don't focus on practicing things like chasing. You know what I mean? Because we want to practice things like playing footy.
Got a tweet come through as well, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. Would it be possible to have Kirtley back and play him at 12, Carmichael at 13? Is that something you might consider?
Look, we'll take a look. I think there's a few different configurations of the team. Got to remember Samu Karevi's coming back as well. So there's another player that's going to be in that mix in the back line. So it's going to be tight. And
at the end of the year, David Pocock will come back, so he'll be part of the mix going forward into 2018.
There's a few players to come back here still. Sean McMahon will be back for this series, as will Nick Phipps.
So where does Pocock sit in that back row makeup?
Well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's some new young players. I've really been happy with Hannigan and what he brought in the 3 games. I like Dempsey. I can see him playing a little bit more. We've got a clear role where we want him to play in that back row. And I've liked the idea of having the big boys playing back in the back row again. So it should be an interesting competition when everyone gets back on deck.
All right, and a video question has come in as well. I feel like Tony Jones on a Monday night. This is from Mike Dinnan.
Hi, Michael. My question is this. After getting beat by Scotland and the narrow win against an average Italian side, then supposedly you made a statement saying you could beat the All Blacks later this year. Do you think that statement's a bit premature if you did make it? But also, where do you see those drastic improvements coming from in order to beat the All Blacks?
Well, if you go into a game and you don't think you can go in and win the game, you may as well not turn up.
Yeah.
So if Australian people want me to go and say, well, we'll go play New Zealand and but we'll be targeting to lose with less than 20. You know, I'm sure that will go down really well, you know what I mean? So, of course, we're going there to target winning. What would we be doing? We know we've got a lot of work, and I won't apologise for that, right? And we know we've got a lot of work to do. We know where we've got to do that. He asked me about those. I said, we'll start off at the fitness level, right? I think we've got it. We've improved our defence, and that's got to have to be improved again to handle the pressure that they'll bring in attack. But the key thing will be minimising our errors, right? And that comes with a componentry of lots of different things because they'll hurt you from mistakes, right? So when you do make them, you've got to close them up quickly and just make less of them, and you'll give less opportunities to the opposition.
Hey, Check, really excellent couple of points, and I agree the defence definitely improved through the course of the couple of weeks. I just got a little clip here that has a highlight of all those things around how do you fix mistakes and things that the players actually end up being responsible for. When I watch this, I've watched this thing 20 times, and every time I watch it, it really frustrates me because we've got a wrong setup in defence. And I know all the pressure's out wide to the left. Here I've just numbered off all of the players, and you can actually see Will Genia gets the first, Bernard Foley the second. As we go out, we're numbered up correctly, but we're all set way too wide in defence. And this is a first phase scrum. We've left Will Genia almost 13 metres to cover this. And it's just simple player understanding of where they need to be. And against the All Blacks, we can't afford to give them first phase tries. If we roll on, you'll just watch this break get done. I'm going to highlight Izzy up the top, who's picking up the last man. But Izzy's still moving forward by the time this player, Capanyara, gets the ball and goes through. And he's our fullback. And I know he's defensive. I know where he stands in defence, and that's fine. But we just didn't react quick enough. And this is like, for me, a first phase try scored against you from a scrum. If I'm in that back line, I'm really, really disappointed with myself because my setup's wrong. We needed to be there. If we actually set in that position and didn't give them this space, they've got 4 players in this little channel. They're never going anywhere else. They're only ever coming through. What I couldn't understand is how they got this offload away, because as the outside centre should never have let his man just run through a gaping hole like that. Now, these are things where, from a technical point of view on the field, our players have to be able to fix, don't they? Because coaching, you can sit on there and you can say till you're blue in the face, hey, guys, get it right. You can tell them. But really, our players have got to own that stuff. To be fair.
The chat straight after the try, when you hear the on-field audio, is exactly that.
Right.
You know, and of course, when the opposition's running at you, there's no need to have that width whatsoever. You close the space up because they can't throw anything out wide, as well as the point you make about the fullback coming up way too early. You know, that's the immediate reaction. And I think they talked about it straight away on field, because we turn the mic on so we can hear what they're saying. You know, about that. And I think we ended up with Bernard and Carmichael on the same guy, you know what I mean? Yeah. As they came closer to us, absolutely not necessary. We can tighten everything up there and make that tackle. And I think that's an example of just lapse of concentration. Even in the try that was scored off the kick, the drop kick, you know, we had players in that zone that if they just pushed a little harder, they're going to be right there when the catch. And that's can almost come back to a little bit of what you're talking about of, I hope this doesn't happen, as opposed to I'm just going to make sure this doesn't happen no matter what. I'm going to get there. I'm going to shut that opportunity down. I'm not going to hesitate. Yep. Let's get tighter. Let's do that. And they're the concentration things. It's well pointed out that, you know, we also as coaches need to address regularly, and we need to be solving those issues.
And what it is, it's the smallest error. Like, there's a metre. Bernard Foley's a metre too wide. And if he's a metre, the next guy's 2, the next guy's 3.
Exacerbates.
And it just exacerbates. It's the smallest errors. And I know people at home will sit there and say, how can you make that mistake? But when you're in a game, it's the smallest thing. And you think
about spacing a lot over the 3 tests defensively. You kept saying it, like the spacing is a bit tight. Yeah,
it got better and better throughout the 3 tests. It was good by the end.
Cheika, I've just got a quick one for you before we let you go, and it's more sort of allowing us to get inside your day-to-day. So now that has finished, have you been able, even at this early stage, to put in any work into what New Zealand's doing? Obviously, South Africa had a really good series against France. What does that look like out of the back of June? Or is that something you've managed to do even during the June series?
We've been obviously preparing in the background for what that's going to bring, the first 2 New Zealand matches. You know, we're going to get another look at their matches as they, you know, what they do. I think they'll play a little different against the Lions as they will to us. I think they definitely had a reaction to the Lions' rush defence, and the way they played in the first test was pretty obvious, and they just took the sting out of them by making them tackle so many one-off runners, you know, and they couldn't rush the whole way. I don't think they'll play like that against us. But, you know, I think there's got to be the right balance on setting a strategy, you know, to target that match, to win that match. Which, like I said, I know a lot of people don't think, or probably no one thinks we can. As long as we do, that's the main thing. And then also look at ourselves and the things we need to improve in our own game.